This is The Clash, where the real world clashes with a true Christian worldview. Join former professional wrestler Chris Whaley, known as the Masked Saint, who is an author, pastor, and teacher that brings his wrestling skills into the squared circle and tackles real-life issues. Along with Jeff Dixon, best-selling author, internationally known teacher, leader, and pastor who is not afraid to tackle the tough issues of the world we live in. Together they form a tag team of wisdom in The Clash.
Hi, welcome to The Clash, where we take a Christian worldview, allow it to clash into the culture around us, and when we're done, hopefully we'll say something that will encourage, that will educate, and entertain just a little bit, and maybe, as a big takeaway, make you just a little bit wiser, smarter, more spiritual in your approach to life. I'm not sure we can pull that off. I'm Jeff Dixon, and I'll be participating, but the real Clash master here is none other than the one, the only, the saint himself, Dr. Christopher Whaley. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Today on The Clash, Jeff, we're handing out a report card.
Uh-oh. Well,
And
I hated report card day growing up.
It's
just so
not
you know.
to a student, but we're handing the report card out to President Donald J. Trump.
So this is the Trump card.
This is a Trump card.
All right, we can do
One
that.
year ago today, Donald J. Trump took office, and if you remember, Jeff, he promised disruption, he promised strength, he promised economic revival, border security, and a return to America first. So tonight, we're asking a simple question, Jeff, and that simple question is, how's he doing?
Okay.
All right?
All right, I think we can do
Are
that.
you up for it?
I think I'm up for it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Well, I think it's good to evaluate. I think it's good to grade folks. And
Good.
so, sure, why not? Let's do that. So yes, you heard correctly. This is a political episode.
Yes, it is.
No doubt about it. And so,
Have we ever done those before?
well, we've done political episodes. I mean, we've done.
Oh, yeah,
Through the election, we
That's
cover
right.
we cover
We
political
have.
topics. We're
Yeah.
well rounded. We go wrestling one week, we go politics next.
Yeah,
So.
I know.
But I have a feeling that this will be more offensive to some people than anything we would ever do by way of interviews or wrestling.
Right.
So here's our offer to you. We're going to do our best to give a honest, non-biased, if possible, scorecard, grade card for President Trump. And if you can hear that with the right filters, then come back after the break. If not, we're getting ready to take a break, watch the commercial, and then take the week off and join us next week. How about that?
And they can see if their grade is close to our grade.
Sure, we can. And if your grade is different, then email Chris Whaley at the address that you see on the screen. He
There you-
loves to get your emails.
There you go.
He lives to get your emails. It makes him feel good.
Yeah.
And lets us know you're watching.
There you go.
So, but before we do that, let's take a break. Hi, I don't know if you're like I am, but some mornings I sit and I drink a cup of coffee and I ponder the world that we live in. And I think to myself, how do we take our Christian worldview and allow it to clash into the culture around us? And sometimes as I'm drinking my coffee, I'm motivated because I'm drinking out of my Clash coffee mug. That's right, this Clash coffee mug. I use it just about every morning. And you know what? You can have one just like it too by visiting the Clash store. Because nothing like pondering the world we live in over a good cup of coffee. And nothing makes the coffee taste better than an official Clash mug. No kidding. Don't believe me? Try it. We don't have a money-back guarantee, but just try it. It works. Hi, welcome back. This is the Trump Card episode where we're giving the President of the United States a yearly report card,
There we
for
go.
lack of a better term.
Mhm.
Now, Chris, if I were to summarize the Trump presidency part 2, year 1, well, that's complicated to say, I would say that it has been a presidency of incredible energy stifled by vehement opposition.
Oh, I think you nailed that.
I mean, that has nothing to do with the grade.
Yeah.
It's just says a lot about the political climate of the day.
Oh yeah, you
Okay.
nailed it.
So let's talk about. Tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what you're thinking here. I'll jump in with my stuff too.
Well, first off, we know that report cards aren't about feelings, Jeff.
Okay.
It's about what? Performance.
Performance. Yeah.
Promises made, promises kept, results delivered, consequences experienced, and they were many of them. So let's just start off and go to the first thing and the economy.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on his job on the economy?
Well, I have to look up my page here. The economy. I gave in each of these areas. I gave some multiple grades. Okay. And what I mean is, for me, the economy is a mixed picture. All right. Because if you go back and look, I think that President Trump inherited
A mess.
was a disastrous economy.
A mess.
And so I think that in some ways there was a hangover left over from the Biden years. Okay, where we are today, year one, is prices have stabilized,
Mm-hmm.
which meant though they've stabilized at the higher level that they were with the Biden administration.
Mm-hmm.
And in some areas, things are starting to climb down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think by way of economic approach, one of the grades under this category I would give him is an A. I like his approach to the economy better than I like the previous administration's
Mm-hmm.
approach to the economy, if that's fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's very fair.
What do you think?
Well, I look at several things. I look at GDP growth.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll remember, 8 years under Obama, he never reached 3%.
Right.
And Trump just passed 4% here. And they're looking at 5 if they didn't have this government shutdown. So, I definitely give him an A on GDP growth. I look at inflation. I remember the 4 years under Biden, inflation got up to plus 9%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm old enough, it reminded me of the Jimmy Carter years.
Sure. Like gas lines, right?
So, Trump has brought inflation down. And, with all the pundits out there, they say, if he does this, it would be good. And then he goes lower, and then they still criticize him.
Sure. Of course.
I look at job creation.
Okay.
And of course, the job numbers have been great. And the great thing about it is they're private sector jobs. They're not government jobs. And then market performance.
Okay.
Unbelievable. We just passed 50,000.
Yeah.
And so, I gave him an A.
You gave me an A. Well, see, I gave him an A for approach. And again, for some of the same reasons you just gave him, the A's included in there. I didn't give him as high grades on the tariff approach. And just
not a tariff fan.
No, it's not. No, I am a fan actually, but I'm going to give him a C, and here's why. Just before we recorded today, the Supreme Court, 2 of the judges he appointed have said the way that he has imposed tariffs is in violation of the law.
Wow,
and so as a result, there's now billions of dollars that have come in that is in limbo. That's of today when we're recording. Okay. Now, there are workarounds. They've already named 2 other laws that he can do it under, and he has that power as president to do, which means he probably should have done it in the first place that way, but it takes too long. And he tried to expedite it. Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with the tariffs is simply this. I think previous administrations and previous governments, and this impacts the Congress and everybody else, I think we have gotten the short end of the stick as a country when it comes to tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not understand why any U.S. president would have negotiated the deals that we have carried through the years,
up to this point,
and administrations of both parties, right, that have gotten us to this point. I think they were horrible deals. And America is a superpower.
Right.
Well, the superpower means you don't have to be a doormat.
Right.
So Trump, I think, is the first president that has any kind of business sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. And I think he, and maybe he just came out of the business sector, had a better handle on what the power of tariffs were.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's talking tariffs, I guarantee you 95% of the politicians that hear that conversation don't have any idea what he's talking about, and they're our elected representatives.
Right.
I give him a C because he's defied the odds. A lot of pundits said, you put tariffs on like that, it's going to cause prices to go through the roof and it's going to be horrible.
Right.
That has not been the case. So Trump has been proven right on that. Where he has failed, I gave him a C, where he has not been as strong, where his team has not been as strong is, they have still yet to do a good job to explain to the people of America, including our elected officials, what a tariff really means, what it does, and why, when you negotiate different levels of tariff, it matters.
Right.
We hear a lot of dunderheads talking about it.
Right.
So he probably, in my book, could be graded higher because I think a lot of it has worked, except for the fact that if you're not going to message it, it don't matter what you do. You're not going to get credit for it. It's not good. And so I have to give him, in fairness, I have to give him a C on that. I wish he would do better at it. Because if he could do better at it, we would have a better way to see if it's being successful or not.
Right.
But again, for the most part, and even for our listeners, I guarantee you, most of us don't understand. We have a minimal understanding, but we don't have the big picture of how international trade agreements and tariffs work. And so I give him a C on that. And then the other piece that I basically gave him an F in the economy. If we'd have done this 3 months into the Trump presidency, I'd have given him an A. Was the creation of the Elon Musk-driven Doge.
Yeah.
Okay? Nothing wrong with covering and cutting and saving the government money. However, we have cut back a ton of money, and our deficit has continued to grow. So all the reasons we were going to cut and save money
hasn't worked.
Net result, we haven't not done it.
Yeah.
That's the economy. That's economic. So in essence, the summary is he just cut out part of the swamp, but the end result has been we've spent a boatload more on just another piece of land in the swamp.
Yeah.
And so I give him an F on that because the buck stops at the top. Okay. I'm all about let's cut money, let's tighten up the budget. But if you're just going to cut up the budget to waste it somewhere else, I mean, the deficit should go down. And it's not. And so we are still creating in the United States of America a deficit and running up bills that we cannot pay. And our grandchildren can't pay. And their grandchildren can't pay. And so that too is an economic issue that no one wants to wade into, including Trump, who probably has a better handle on the economy than any president we've had in a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I give him an A and a C and an F. How about that? No one wants my report cards.
Well, buddy, if that doesn't get us on national TV, nothing will.
Well, I don't think that's the goal, but neither here nor there. It's okay. Maybe.
Well, I just know CNN's going to be calling you to say, "Hey, you gave him an F."
But if Donald J. Trump were going to call me, and feel free to call me if you want to, don't send the Secret Service. Just feel to call yourself. I think a more ambitious, more open conversation about the budget, about spending, the whys and the hows of it, because Trump does have the ability to dumb it down. I mean, he really does. He says things in a way that people can relate to and they love or hate. But I think a more ambitious approach toward explanation would go a long way, at least in my grade sheet, of getting those grades up, because I really do want him to be successful, because I love paying less at the gas pumps.
Oh, yeah.
I love that costs of so many things are coming down. I'm smart enough to know that the high prices are probably hangers-on from the previous administration. I got all that. But his team, too, has to do a better job of selling it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's break time.
What?
Yeah. We only covered one thing.
I talk too much.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay. All right. I got it. We'll be back right after this break. Hi, Jeff Dixon. You might recognize me from The Clash, but that's not what I want to talk to you about. I want to invite you to visit a website. It's touchandchange.net. Touchandchange.net. That is the website for the ministry of the church at 434, where I am the pastor. Chris Whaley is one of our pastors on staff. And so while you're familiar with us, you may not be familiar with some of the resources that we have to offer that we think will help you in your journey of faith. And you can find all sorts of stuff there with brand new programming that's released every night at 7 o'clock. And you can join us for worship live each and every Sunday morning at 9 or 11:15. Or you can watch streaming reruns of those worship services. And you can go back all the way back to when I had dark hair. And so we would love for you to come and join us and be a part of the journey of faith with us at the Church at 434 at touchandchange.net.
Hey, welcome back. We're giving President Trump a report card on how he's done. We didn't get very far on that first one, but hopefully we'll get a little bit.
We'll make tracks.
Yeah, a little bit better on these next ones. I had border and immigration, Jeff, and the border crossings are 0.
Okay.
Deportations. I'm all for it, and you can call me hard-hearted or whatever, but if you came into this country illegally, you broke the law, and you should not do that. And then, the big thing is they're trying to get rid of the most dangerous of these, of which I know a topic you want to talk about. Minnesota was not very helpful in that.
No.
But I give him an A all around on border and immigration. What do you give him?
Well, I mean, again, I have a mixed bag here, but that's not a surprise, is it? But I give him an A on closing the border.
Right.
And isn't it interesting that we were told for 4 years after the first Trump presidency that the border was closed,
Right.
but it was never closed.
Mm-mm.
And then we were told by the sitting U.S. president that he had done all he could do until Congress did something. He said that on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
And apparently, I know this is stunning, we were lied to.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump walks in the door and immediately puts the clamps down and starts enforcing the laws that are already on the books.
Right.
And the border is closed. I mean, and when we say closed, I mean closed to the point of, you can count you can count on an abacus how many people are coming across. I mean, it's not that many.
Yeah.
So I give him an A on that. On the work of ICE, I think he was faced with a task that was absolutely overwhelming. And I think the deportation and the approach to it is good for the most part. I think there certainly have been some miscues. I give him a B for that. I don't know how you can do it better, but it has not been flawless.
No.
And it hasn't been excellent. But I give him an A from the fact that it has to be done.
Right.
Okay. So he's, so I mean, I give him some high marks there. I think, again, if there's a weakness in the administration, in the border, I would give him a D from the standpoint they don't communicate very well. And I think that's half the battle, because the most recent outbreaks that we've had in Minnesota, where Holman basically goes in and has to kind of clean it up and does some straight shooting. Now, again, all the politics aside, basically he laid it out. Look, if local agencies will help us,
Right.
there's no riot, there's no mess, we can take care of this, we're in, we're out. That's just common sense. That's upfront talk. Why is he the only one that says that? I mean, again, that should be something that should be coming out of every magpie's mouth that works under Donald J. Trump.
Right.
And so while he doesn't get, well, it does. It reflects at the top, right? So I think they get a D in communication again, because again, common sense, say it. Americans aren't dumb.
Yeah.
We can hear it. We can understand it. Explain to us what we're doing. And then when you screw up, just say, hey, we blew it this time.
Yep.
But, you can blow it every once in a while. We'll make it right. And just go on with it. And you know what? If you don't like him, you're not going to give him a pass on it.
Right.
But if you do like him, you respect the fact that you owned it and you go on with it.
Right. How about on foreign policy?
I like the foreign policy approach from the standpoint of, because he made America a superpower again when he struck Iran.
Right.
I mean, boom.
That's what I had on it.
In that moment, America reemerged as a superpower in the entire world.
Right.
I'm American. I don't mind being a superpower.
All right.
With great power comes great responsibility, according to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I believe that. And in that moment,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
we became a superpower again. So I like that.
yeah. We've been hearing, you know, ad nauseum about Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And what was happening the whole time? You know, they're getting closer and closer and closer to a nuclear weapon. And I think when they did the what was it, Midnight Hurricane, I think, or Midnight Hammer, or something
Great
like
name,
that.
yeah.
When they did that, I think Iran was just probably weeks from having a nuclear weapon. I think they were the closest they had been, and something had to be done. So I gave him an A. He's the only president that, you know, had the courage to do what he did.
Well, also, before we leave foreign policy, though, I mean, let's talk about the Middle East a little bit. What about the renewal of the Abraham Accords?
Oh yeah, yeah, and you know he stopped what 8 wars?
Stopped 8 wars, yeah.
Yeah, and the renewal of the Abraham Accord. I mean, I got to give him an A on that too.
And I love the fact that politically, there was no way he was ever going to get the Nobel Peace Prize, but the winner of it gave it to him. Because again, it is so politicized, right? Because if anybody met the criteria of getting it, I mean, I think being a factor in brokering a deal that pretty well ended or brought the world back from the brink of war on 8 different occasions, that's pretty significant in your first year.
Oh yeah, and let me ask you this, Jeff: is the world more stable or more volatile because of Trump's presidency?
I think it's more stable.
Oh yeah.
But I think the reason it's stable is because I think everyone has figured out, okay, America really is a superpower, and they're not afraid to use that power.
Right.
Which is the weaknesses of the previous administrations. You know, you may have the power, but if you don't use the power, you might as well not have the power.
Right.
Right? If it doesn't energize you,
Right.
you know, and it doesn't mean you're a bully. It just means you're letting people know we're not afraid to use it.
Yep.
And I think that matters. I think the weakness for Trump in foreign policy, and again, he has to own it though, because he made the statement when the election was coming that he was going to end within 24 hours
The Russian-Ukraine.
Russian-Ukraine battle.
Right.
That was great on the campaign trail. It was great for election cycles. The reality is Trump doesn't have the ability to control Vlad the Bad.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, Ukraine has always been a mess.
Yeah.
And always has been at the center of a lot of geopolitical junk.
All right.
And
Corruption.
yes, and even Trump can't unravel that in 24 hours, much less a year.
Right.
But if you're going to grade him on the fact, did he pull it off? Because it was promised. The answer is no, not yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can score him very high there.
No.
I mean, he's not fair. He's working at it, but he's I give him a D on that.
You got another one?
I'm sure I do. As we only have a minute left, so if there's anything big you want to cover, I want you to do it. I think culture issues are important. Just real quick, how has he done in navigating the culture issues that happen in America right now? Are we united? Are we divided? Are we?
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Are we united? Or has he been a president of unification or divisiveness? As long as he's there, it's going to be divisive because the Democrats, they're doing everything they can to make his poll numbers go down. I heard today that his poll numbers, he's got like just a little over 50% approval, and that just drives the Democrats crazy.
Yeah.
And so they try one thing after another to bring his poll numbers down, and they haven't succeeded in that.
Yeah.
I would tell you one thing I would not give him an A on, and that's healthcare.
Right.
Healthcare is still a mess.
It is.
I don't think it's all his. I mean, you got to have Congress on this one.
Yeah.
And Congress is Looney Tunes when it comes to healthcare, especially the Democrats.
Well, I think in fairness, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, healthcare. I think there's a great desire to unravel the mess that we have, but it is a mess. But also, the president struggles with the same issue that you would have or I would have as president, right? They're only able to do what the congressional leaders
Allow you.
allow you to do. And we as Americans are responsible for the people we've elected.
Right.
So that means that a president is basically going to change things through executive order until those political machines behind that president
Right.
will build up enough momentum to change the law. You know, and we haven't elected leaders that have the stomach for that.
No.
Donald Trump has the stomach for that. I think he would.
Yeah.
And the executive orders have reflected that. More executive orders than any other president in the first year.
Right.
The problem with that is next guy in the door can unravel that if the election cycle changes.
Which we saw with Biden coming in. Yeah.
So, I mean, even though I gave him grades all over the planet, I think I've tried to be fair with him. I like him as a president. I like a lot of things he's doing.
Well,
and I like the trajectory we're going.
Well, we've got to break, sadly, but before we take a break, just overall, everything, what's the report card going to say?
Oh, I give him a B.
Give him a B?
Give him a B.
Okay.
You know, you got to work hard to get the A. And I give him a B because there's a lot of stuff that we haven't even talked about that I think could factor in there. Yeah, no doubt. So,
okay.
Let's take a break.
I give him an A minus.
A minus?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're getting close. You're getting close to that B part.
Okay.
Okay. We'll be right back. Hi. During this short break, I want to give you a chance to get to know Chris Whaley just a little bit better. Chris, who's the most famous person or one of the most famous people you've ever met?
One of the most famous people I've ever met was The Rock. Of course, his name is Dwayne Johnson, but I was in a dressing room and I was going to wrestle that night, and in walked Rocky Johnson and Dwayne. And I was talking to Dwayne, what are you going to do with your life? And he said he was going to be a wrestler. And I never made a lot of money in wrestling. And I said, you're an idiot. You don't want to wrestle. You want to play football. You make millions of dollars. He says, no, I'm going to be a wrestler like my dad. I said, you're an idiot. And then the next year he went to the WWF and he made $6 million, wrote a book, it became a bestseller. And now he is the #1 box office star in the world. So it's a good thing he didn't listen to my advice.
And if you want good advice like that to how to live your life, contact us. This is Chris Whaley.
Hey, welcome back to The Clash. We've given President Trump a report card, and Jeff gave him a B, I gave him an A minus. And, you know, this is a paid political announcement. I know somebody who has a wonderful book called Mr. President.
How could that be?
It is a great book, and if it gets rid of everything, and it's funny. So
well, I think that would qualify. Whoever wrote that book probably is qualified to actually grade the president.
Yeah.
I'm not, because I write Mickey Mouse kind of books.
You're a Mickey Mouse guy.
Mickey Mouse guy.
Anyway,
I have a book about the president as well, though, called Kingdom Chaos. Since we're to get a shameless self-promotion here.
I love Kingdom. That's my favorite of your books. It's Kingdom and Chaos.
I appreciate that. You don't have to say it. I'll tell you after we get off the air.
And I got to tell you, in that book, that president was a little Trumpish.
Oh, he was a lot Trumpish.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So, but here's a question, though, Chris. We don't have much time here. But I mean, were we fair? I mean, did we park our biases at the door? Because that's the problem anymore, right? We're so divided, and the country is so.
Well, I'm very biased.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very biased.
But did you park it to kind of give the analysis?
Yeah, but where I was more biased, you were more stable, man. Okay. I mean, you kept us in the game here.
I did, huh?
Because of your honesty and your integrity, and you kept us in there, and because of you, I think it's a reputable program because of you.
I appreciate you saying that. And we'll continue this patting on the back after we go off the air. But thanks for joining us this week. Chris, what do you know before they leave?
I hope you go out. I hope you have a great, great week. Don't let politics bother you, and don't tap out.